Hi, I wanted to give some instructions here for the Arthropod comparison field trip. If you're choosing to do this assignment instead of going on the field trip, or if you just ended up missing the field trip, this would be your chance to just be able to make up the assignment on your own time. So, learning intention, we're learning about how to classify organisms so we can figure out how biologically similar they are to each other. Again, we are dealing with animals that are all arthropods, but we're looking at some specific classifications within that. Success criteria: I'll be successful when I can make observations about the physical characteristics and environments of arthropods, and I can make comparisons between arthropods based on my observations. So, normally during the field trip, we would be selecting from this list of animals here. So, again, we've got several arachnids that are listed, several insects, and then just one diplopod, the giant African millipede. So, again, for that particular example, that'll be the only one you can select for this. But otherwise, you can pick any of these options from these lists to help fill out the chart that follows on the second page. So, in the first two columns, you will pick two different example arachnids. So, for example, I could pick like the Brazilian black tarantula and then maybe the tailless whip scorpion. Those could be my first two example arachnids. You'll have two example insects. So, for example, I could pick something like the jungle nymph and then the Saba thorny walking stick. Those could be for these two columns here. And then finally, for the diplopod, no matter what, it would be the giant African millipede. The Underneath each one of them, you'll put some information that pertains to that specific species that you're looking at. The first box asks about the appendages, and remember that appendages on an arthropod could be the legs, antennae, mouth parts, wings, basically any extension off of the body on an arthropod could be an appendage. It's not just what they use for movement. What do they look like they're used for? Again, take a look at them, look at some pictures of these animals, and then try to determine, what seems like it would be a good fit as far as how they would use those appendages. I also want to know about their habitats. So again, normally we would be looking at the habitat that is presented in the tank that these animals are kept in, but look at pictures of them and kind of look at, what are their surroundings like? How would you describe their general habitat? If you're looking up information about them, again, what would be some general biomes that they describe for them? And then finally, what is their diet? Again, there is usually an information sheet that is provided at the zoo for determining this. But again, looking up information about these animals, you should be able to find a reference to what they tend to eat for their diet. Some of these are very strict in terms of what they eat as far as being a carnivore or a herbivore. Some of them are what we call detritivores. So again, they will eat decaying organic matter. So again, look into the potential diet of the species that you're looking at. So, with all of that in mind, you should be able to put together the information that you're looking for. And I hope this gives you some insight into the differences between different arthropods.